Hello. We are starting week 3 of summer school, so believe it or not, we only have this week and another week to go, and we are all done. So I for this one, this is going to be a reading. So for this one, I'm going to read a story to you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. If you are on Zoom, we'll talk about it live. If not, you're probably just watching this video with a mom or dad or a family member, brother, sister, grandma, or grandpa. So you can pause it and kind of talk to them while you are listening. Okay. So I'm going to read this story and then we're going to talk about it a little bit, and then you will go off on your own and read your own book and then tell me about it in a picture and writing. Okay? So the one I'm going to read is called, I'm sorry. It's called Can You See in the Dark? And it's a little bit long, so just try to follow along, okay? Can You See in the Dark by Carolyn James, illustrated by Dwayne Bibby. And this is the cover picture. So by looking at the picture, I see that they are out in the woods somewhere. It looks like a tent, so maybe they were out camping. And he has a flashlight and some water in his hands. And you can see the sky. It looks like it's nighttime already. So what are some predictions that you think the book is going to be about? If you are on Zoom, we're probably talking about it now. If you're watching this with a family member, just pause it and talk to them about it. What do you think the book is going to be about just by looking at the cover? My prediction is that this person is probably out camping with his family or friends, and it got dark at night, and maybe their flashlight didn't work or something, and they're wanting to know if they can see in the dark. So let me see if I'm right. If you made your predictions, try to see if you're right. Okay, so here we go. Can you see in the dark? Do you need light to see? To find the answer, you need evidence. And the only way to get the evidence you need is to find a place that's completely dark with no light at all. Think of some dark places. Can you see in those places? You can find your way to the bathroom after bedtime without turning on a light. You can see empty seats in a dark movie theater. But are those places completely dark? Is there any light there at all? What do you think? If you get up in the middle of the night and you walk to the restroom, is it pitch black, or is there some light that helps you see along the way? If it's pitch black, can you see? What do you think? To find out whether you need light to see, you have to find a place with no light. None. Nada. Zero. Zilch. So completely dark. No light from the moon. No light from your phone. No light from anything. Think of a movie theater. You walk in after the movie starts. It is hard to see, but you can still find a seat. You can see a little bit. Is there any light in the theater? So what do you think? Is there light in the theater? If there is light, where does it come from? It most likely comes from the big screen. What do you observe? You may see little light bulbs on the floor next to the seats. Behind you see a light coming from the movie projector up here. And you can usually see this if you go to the movies and you turn around at the top. That's where you will find this. Light does not just float around. It has to come from somewhere. A place where light comes from is called a light source. We saw this in another book, remember? What book was it? The light bulbs on the floor are a light source. The movie projector is also a light source. Um, if you want to pause right here and talk to your partner, or the family member, what is a light source? This vocabulary word came in the book from last week. Who remembers what a light source is? A light source, if you remember, is somewhere where light comes from. In the book from last week, it was like two kids had a lemonade stand, and they were trying to put on some shade, and then they were talking about the light source, which the light source was the sun. And at the end, they made a fort and they played with the flashlight, which was the light source. Even though the movie theater seems dark, there is some light. The theater is not completely dark. You don't have the evidence you need yet. To find out whether you need to see, you have to find some place darker to observe. You walk out of the theater. It is a rainy night. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? So close your eyes and imagine walking outside in a very cloudy and rainy day. Is it pitch black or is there still light? If you say there's still light on a rainy and cloudy day, what's the light source? Where's the light coming from? On the walk home, you notice light from many sources. Street lights, you're the street lights. Car headlights, those are the lights from the car. And the glowing sign at the gas station. And that's where you have the sign, it's not in the picture. You can see, but that is not evidence that you can see in the dark. It is nighttime, but it is not completely dark. So right here, talk to your partner, or if you're on Zoom, talk to me. If it's nighttime, but it's not completely dark, what is the light source? How do we get light outside at night? Think of a darker place. You can go camping in the middle of the woods where there are no street lights or headlights. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? What do you think? Imagine you're outside camping in the woods, like this guy, and imagine he turned off his flashlight. Is it completely dark or are you still getting light? And if you say you're still getting light, where's the light coming from? What's the light source? Yes, the campfire is a source of light. Your flashlight is a source of light too. Okay, but let's say that you didn't have a flashlight or a campfire. Is there still light? What do you think? When the fire goes out and you turn off the flashlight, it gets much darker. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? So let's look at the picture. I see some light. Where's the light coming from? The campfire is out. The flashlight is out, so it's dark down here, but I still see some light up here. What's the light source? That's right, the stars and the moon give you light. So is it completely dark yet? I don't think so. Look up in the sky. What do you observe? Up there are thousands of light sources, the stars. Even in the middle of the forest at night, it is not completely dark. Yay, we were right. You cannot get the evidence you need to answer your questions here. Back at home, your bedroom may seem completely dark when you turn off the lights. Can you see? Maybe you see a glass of water on the table next to your bed. Maybe you can count the stripes on your bedspread. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? So, if this is you laying down and you can see the water next to you and you can see the stripes on your bedspread, is it completely dark? It looks like there's some light coming from this side. What do you think it's coming from? You see some light from a street light and from the neighbor's house coming through your window. Your room is not completely dark after all. Being able to see in your bedroom at night is not really evidence that you can see in the dark. So it's not completely dark because we have lights from your neighbors and from the street lights. Can you imagine a place that is completely dark with no light from any source? You crawl under your bed. You remember how dark it was under there when you played hide and seek. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? What do you think? Is it completely dark under the bed? My prediction is that it's not, because he can still see the baseball. So if it was completely dark, I don't think he would be able to see the baseball. In a few seconds, you start to see things. You can see a sock that has been missing for a month. Who has socks under their bed? Does this mean you can see in the dark? You look around. Light from the neighbor's house and the street light outside your window is also getting under your bed. You have to find some place darker. So see, there's still light coming inside. You scramble into your closet and shut the door. Yes, you think, I found a place that is completely dark. No light is getting in here from any source. You can just barely see your hand if you hold it in front of your face. Is it completely dark? Can you find any light? What do you think? Tell me, or talk to your partner, or a family member that's helping you. If you go into the closet like he is here, is it completely dark? Is there a light source in here? What do you think? You notice a crack under the door where light from outside is getting in. You still don't have the evidence you need. You still cannot prove whether or not you need light to see. So, were you right? Kiss your brain if you were right. A few days later, you go on a field trip to a cave. The tour guide leads you in the cave. It is dark in here, really dark. Deep in the cave, there is no light from the sun. This may be the perfect place to test whether you can see in the dark. Talk to me. What do you think? The cave? Do you think the cave is dark enough? If you think about a cave, it's completely closed. Sun cannot go into the cave. So what do you think? The tour guide is talking about how caves are formed, but you are wondering how dark the cave could get. You finally get a chance to ask. The tour guide says, I'll show you. I'm going to turn off the lights for a minute. She turns off the lights and everything is black. You look around for sources of light, but you do not see any. In fact, you cannot see anything at all. Just to be sure, you wait. What do you think? Is it completely dark in the cave? Let's see. And wait. But you never see anything. A smile crosses your face. None of your classmates can see the smile, even though they are standing right in front of you. Still, you know the smile is there because you can feel it. You finally have the evidence you need. You have found a place that is completely dark. There is no light from any sources. It is completely dark, and you cannot see in the dark. If you can see anything, it is because of light. You need light to see. And that is the end of our book. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned from it. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my piece of paper and my pencil, I'm doing markers so you can see it better, and I'm gonna write about something that I learned from the story. Okay, so at the top of my paper I'm going to put the title. Let's go back to the title page. The title page was Can You See in the Dark? And I'm gonna put the date on it. Okay, so you will do the same thing. And I am doing this on today is June 14th, 2020. The book is called Can You See in the Dark? Okay, and I'm going to write about one thing that I learned. Okay, so I'm going to start off my sentence with a capital letter O for one thing I learned from the book was that. Okay, and this is a complete sentence. I'm starting my sentence by answering the question. One thing that I learned from the book was that the main thing that I learned was that it's actually hard to find places that are completely dark. And that really surprised me, because when you think of dark, you think of turning off the light in your bedroom at night, or going into a dark closet. But the book showed us that it's actually not completely dark, because when you're in your room, you're most likely getting light from your window, if you have a window, and the light comes from the stars, the moon, any street light, or your neighbor's lights, right? Let's show when he was in the closet, there was a light source in the closet coming from the bottom of the door, so it was not completely dark. So one thing that really surprised me, or that I learned, was that it is hard to find a place that is really dark. Oh, sorry. And then I end my sentence with a period. Okay, so one thing I learned from the book was that it is hard to find a place that is really dark. And what do you think? If his class did not go on a field trip to the cave, do you think he would have found somewhere that was really dark? Talk to me. What do you think? If you're watching this on YouTube, talk to your partner or whoever is helping you with the work. What do you think? Okay, so when you're done with that discussion, you see how I read the story and then I wrote my one thing that I learned from the story. You could also draw a picture. So now it's your turn, okay? And the book that you are going to read is called, let me look for it. The book that you're going to read is called Art Around the World. Okay, so I want you to read it with a family member, and then when you're done reading it, then you're gonna get a sheet of paper, and then you're gonna tell me one thing that you learned from the book. Okay, remember, write a complete sentence. You start a complete sentence as a sentence by answering the question. So okay, so I asked you to write one thing that you learned. You're going to start your sentence with one thing I learned from the book was that, and then you can go ahead and tell me what the thing that you learned was. Okay, and then you can draw your picture at the bottom. When you're done, go ahead and take a picture and you can send it to me. through a message or Google Classroom. Okay, if you need any help, or if you have any questions, please let your mom or a family member who's helping you know, and they can send me a message. Okay.